Hey, welcome to a drive-by review of the AK4000 gimbal from Feiyutech. Now, in case you didn't know, I love creating buttery smooth shots for B-roll and other video projects, and I'm always on the lookout for that cost-efficient but potent gimbal option. So thank you for the people at Feiyutech for sending me this to test out for myself and see exactly how buttery smooth it is in real-world use, especially considering right now I'm utilizing the Canon M50 that only has digital image stabilization. So we'll try it with that on and off because there's a bit of a crop factor with that. And also I have some lens options that have stabilization on the lens itself. But beyond that, there's a ton of functions you can utilize, including time-lapse abilities and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity and more. So let's unbox that and take a look at those first, and then throw it on the M50 or throw the M50 on it and see how it performs in the real world. Here we go. Now this is the first time I really appreciated the packaging that came with the gimbal. It's kind of like a foam briefcase, and it's easy to remove and replace and put back in all the components, which for some reason is rare when it comes to gimbal packaging. It comes with 4 18650 batteries, and as you can see, a ton of components, a lot of pieces that help the gimbal connect to the camera directly for its higher function uses. And up there at the top, you can see this nice carbon fiber extension rod, so you can utilize the gimbal with two hands for better stability, as well as hold it for longer periods of time. And it does come in quite useful because it can handle up to 8.82 pounds, quite heavy overall as far as the camera setup is concerned. It's got really nice finishing with a nice rubber grip along with metal and plastic components mixed throughout. Pretty good combination. And the mounting plate has a lot of different options for sized cameras, including a sliding component area as well as individual screw-in pin locations for the large full frame cameras. And of course this top stabilization rod it comes with, but that won't be necessary with the Canon M50 I'm utilizing with it. One of my favorite things it has here is the tripod mount you can put at the base of the gimbal. It allows you to set the gimbal down when you're getting tired in its upright position on any flat surface. A simple concept, but extremely valuable, and you come to realize that quite quickly when you're holding a gimbal for 5 to 10 minutes. Now the AK4000 is extremely easy to use with its touchscreen interface, button interface, and you can even set it up to be used with your cell phone, which we'll take a look at in a bit here. It has all the basic settings and modes of a gimbal to be expected. Default mode, of course, is panning mode, marked by HF. It's where the roll and tilt direction are fixed and the camera moves according to the left and right movements of your hand. If you double click the mode button, it switches it to follow mode. In follow mode, the roll direction is fixed and the camera moves according to the left and right movements and up and down movements of your hand. With a triple click on the mode, it goes to all follow mode, where the camera moves according to the user's hand, including roll direction, up and down, left and right. Now if you go back into panning mode and then you hit the power mode once, it goes into rolling follow mode. And rolling follow mode is where the pan and tilt directions are fixed and the camera moves according to the left and right movements of your hand. If you triple tap the power button, it rotates 180 degrees in a horizontal fashion. Now, a cool thing to keep in mind is this gimbal also has a capacity in all follow mode to do something that's known as the infinity roll. And I think it's probably one of the coolest effects you can utilize when doing something like B-roll or creating some sort of music video or doing some sort of action shot where you want to put a very unique twist, literally, on the footage that you're capturing. All right, now this is pretty cool. This is the Wi-Fi connect from the cell phone to the gimbal to the camera.
And it's a little bit intricate to set up, but it's pretty straightforward once you know how to use the Canon camera connect to the phone, and then also once you figure out how to connect the gimbal. And the way it works is you go through the Feiyutech app, and you connect to the gimbal first of all, and you can control the gimbal like so. But then, let's get it back there. Okay, but then you can also connect to your camera just with this connect button, and you use the Wi-Fi connect on the camera, and you make a Wi-Fi connection there. And so now you're controlling the camera through the Wi-Fi app, also Wi-Fi through the controls on the gimbal itself, and you can switch between the modes and control video on and off and taking pictures from the gimbal itself. So it's pretty fantastic as far as connectivity compared to the past gimbals I've looked at. So that's kind of fun to play with, but really I see more utility in this from the handle itself. Although this is neat that you can control from your cell phone, most likely you're going to have your hands on the gimbal itself and be controlling it wirelessly for record and stop and record from the gimbal handle with its touchscreen. And that right there is invaluable. All right, let's go check it outside.
Okay, so we're going to walk through the levels of stability you can utilize when combining the AK4000 gimbal with the Canon M50 body and the EFM 11 to 22mm lens. All three of those components have their own stability technology. So this is just the gimbal only in HF mode, and as you can see, there's the smoothness you get with just the gimbal providing the stability. Now we're going to add in the lens IS. Stability coming from both the lens technology and the gimbal combined. Now what I'm doing here in HF mode is I'm just walking forward in uneven terrain and then panning right, then left, and then I tilt the actual handle down towards the ground and up towards the sky. And of course in HF mode, it's going to lock that forward, so you'll see the camera go down and up, but it won't actually tilt the camera in this mode. Now we have the gimbal plus the lens internal stabilization, and I'm adding digital stabilization from the Canon M50 body. So three things combined together. Works quite easily with the EFM lens because it's designed for the Canon M50. Here's a pan to the right, pan to the left. Back to back, you can kind of see the subtle differences here as it combines. This is going to be quite obvious in the last one when we add enhanced digital stabilization. It actually crops in a little bit and you get a lot of that kind of floating style shot. It's very similar in feel to Warp Stabilize, if you've ever utilized that through Adobe Premiere. And just pan to the left, pan to the right. So technically that's as smooth as it gets with this setup, although I usually don't like to utilize enhanced. Okay, here is all follow mode, so it's going to allow the camera to go anywhere the hands guide it. This is gimbal only once again, and as you can see, with the all follow mode, it's going to actually get in a lot of that dipping from the steps, because as I change my hand position with every step, because I can't be perfect, you're going to notice those dippings. And you get a lot more of a almost like a first-person shooter vibe from it. Here we go, gimbal plus lens internal stabilization, and I felt shakier. I was trying to do about the exact same steps here. Pan to the right, pan to the left. I really like that feel, that effect from that all follow mode pan. This is also the mode, by the way, you could utilize the infinity roll I just showed you earlier. Okay, gimbal plus lens plus digital stabilization. Walking forward, you can see how that's a bit smoother on the steps. I really do like this effect. I can see especially that swooping gliding shot being utilized in either an action style sequence or, of course, though, the music video scene, all that whimsical footage. All right, gimbal plus lens plus the digital enhanced image stabilization all combined together here in all follow mode. You can see how smooth the steps are. Once again, don't expect all follow mode to eliminate steps, not like HF mode or HF rolling. And here we go, left pan, back to center, then tilt down, tilt up. There you guys have it. Now I've really enjoyed the button upgrades that come with the AK4000, especially when compared to previous Feiyutech gimbals that I've tested in the past. For example, the multifunction knob right here is a great way to organically and seamlessly control the pan, roll, and tilt when you want to take manual control over that, especially when compared to the joystick function that's always existed on gimbals. This is a really great way to utilize the infinity roll capability of the gimbal because you can control at constant speed. But when you want to organically control, this is far better with the multifunction knob. Now beyond that, the touchscreen has been an amazing addition as well because you can control all the internal settings of the gimbal itself to set up all sorts of high-end functions when it comes to gimbal, like sequencing the gimbal with a time lapse along with the camera. And then of course you can even control all the settings of the camera itself once you've installed the app and let it know what camera you're utilizing with the gimbal. So you can utilize the gimbal in its most basic function with the stability I showed you earlier and just putting it in different modes and capturing video, or you can use it in a little bit more of an intricate way, which is where it seems gimbals are going now, where you can control the camera through the gimbal or through your phone together with both the camera and the gimbal. It's exciting where this kind of technology is going, and the nice thing about the AK4000 is, amongst the competitors with exact or similar type capabilities, it's the cheapest of the options. Now when it comes down to the actual nuts and bolts of the gimbal, everything is quite nicely designed, very tight fitting, and it has all these really nice, easy to control tension settings when it comes to each individual piece that you utilize to change the balance of your camera, especially when initially setting up. But keep in mind, you always have to maybe change out your camera, change out your lens, and you have to subtly adjust these things. And what's nice is each one of these pieces has a really nice, easy tension release rod that lets it really easily and seamlessly change position so you can balance it quite easily throughout. And not only that, it has that drop back style that allows you to see the back of the camera, the screen of the camera, while you're utilizing it at eye level. Keep in mind, when you're going above yourself, it's going to be the same issue with it blocking some parts of the screen, but it's way more accessible to the eye compared to the traditional gimbal setup where the back of the gimbal bar is actually right in front of the screen, so you can't even see it here. You have to kind of look to the side. That's always been mildly to moderately annoying when using gimbals. Well, there you guys go. I hope that answered a lot of questions for you on the AK4000 and let you know what it's capable of and showed you how well it works when it used in tandem with something like the Canon M50 that has its own internal stability technology. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions, leave it down below the video. And if you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, I will also post some links in the description below that you can check out for yourself. Besides that, don't forget to like the video if you like the video and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you guys next time on Drive By Reviews.